Hey, hello buddy and welcome to another video. It is my pleasure to announce that Rav Daddy allowed me to be his assistant in his quest to discover and study the plagues that run rampant across the rift, and I have to say, I may be onto a sad discovery. The symptoms of this new, dangerous, and highly contagious disease include but are not limited to, pulling the wrong target in the worst possible moment, going into stealth squid form only to go too close to the enemies and get spotted, and repeatedly engaging into the fattest enemy on the rift only to write report ADC after your death and feeding your sorry ass off until your match ends up looking like this. If you experience any of these symptoms, please go get tested for Pyke Syndrome. Now, a word from our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. JK, I'm not cool enough to have sponsorships. So anyway, the case study starts before the game timer can change from 0 minutes when my support casually strolls into the enemy jungle by himself and starts charging the longest queue in the history of League only to miss it, before getting frozen, put in a golden cage and set on fire. Being on fire inspires him to also burn his flash, and the first blood is achieved without dealing a single point of damage. A few minutes later and Pyke lands the first hook of his career only to quickly regret his good play, as he dashes within tower range, which gets him stuck, set on fire and spanked by the enemy support, making the play an even 1-for-1. Fast forward another death timer and this weird girl with a bird fetish is all alone on her lane, prompting my support to go into squid mode for a surprise hookup, but he goes on the wrong side of the minion wave, and instead of pressing his E key for an easy stun, he prefers to walk around with his hook in hand while mumbling something about knowing what Bird Brain did last summer until she escapes. But no, oh no, this is not over, because there is no way this guy doesn't greed for his next suicide, as he promptly flashes within tower range only to hook the wrong target and make it an even trade once again. His previous success in the enemy jungle gives Pyke the courage to sprint past an undetected enemy ward and straight into Shelob's lair. He engages Shelob but fails to close out the deal not once, but twice, and my support is dead once again. He decides to take his skills elsewhere for the next quote-unquote play, as he ganks the Scuttle Crab's overweight cousin only to eat a stun from Shelob, then proceeds to add one more failed flash play to his already impressive CV. Pyke hits a nice ulti, but no good play goes unregretted, as he assures his own demise when he shoves Shelob up his own ass and immediately gets himself killed once again. Pyke submits his audition for a new show called 2.5 Brain Cells when we get a 2v1 kill against this bird-brained ADC, but then he reminds himself he hasn't died in this fight, so he squids himself over to the closest enemy Ice Cube and commits Sudoku. One death timer later and my support tries to reenact his death at minute 0, and all I can say is, I'm very curious as to what would have happened if Pyke actually landed this hook. He celebrates his close escape by running deeper and deeper into the enemy jungle until he gets the opportunity to miss his ultimate, which he obviously takes, and does. I am proud to say that Pyke finally decides not to hook this Vanilla Ice cosplayer once again, but my pride is short-lived, as he just can't help himself from blindly chasing into a bush and get his mouth filled with yellow snow for the 47th time. We are in bronze, so the enemy team decides to contest Dragon after its death, but not to worry, as their time spent here is rewarded in the end when my brilliant support manages to miss a hook on not one, but 2 targets and gets himself faced. Please notice the ward we had in the bush where Pyke failed his hook. I'm having a hard time trying to call this next event a play, but upsy daisies, he's dead again. A few minutes later and Pyke finally achieves his dream of also feeding the enemy ADC when he mindlessly squids into tower range, gets rooted and uneventfully killed yet again. Game ends a few minutes later when Pyke decides feeding is not enough for him and starts to straight up troll the match. He engages a Darius which has 6, I repeat, 6 levels over him at minute 31. We get into a 3v1 fight against this monstrosity of a champion when my pre-made Mordekaiser decides it would be a good idea to make it a 1v1 as he ultis Darius and fails to close out the deal. We get ran over one last time and it's GG. The commentary ends here, but not to worry as I still have a montage-worthy video documentation of Pyke Syndrome symptoms. Big thanks to Rav Daddy for this opportunity to be his assistant and thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. GG.
Bully, you suck.
Man. Doamne, cum e Pyke, straight down, neamul tău!
Mama, bă, Pyke-ul ăla.
Uite cum
Back? Oh no.
Uite,
Stați cu mine, Catarina.
Aha. Bă, ești prost? Nu te cred.